Hey friends, it's been a really long day. It is about 2 o'clock in the morning on Tuesday, the 2nd of June, and we're in the hospital. Last night when I got home from work, Josh said Jack was just kind of in some distress, and he was. He was working really hard to breathe, and he was burning up. So we took his temperature, and he was at 101.7. So we did all the things. We changed his trach, we gave him some Tylenol, did his albuterol, and then we waited about 2 hours, and he was super lethargic, just out of it, and the fever wasn't really coming down, and his work of breathing was not getting any better. So we called our team, and they said, I think it's time to go to the ER. That doesn't sound great, especially if you did the albuterol 2 hours ago and nothing's happened. So we packed up Rory's stuff and grabbed our go bag and all the things, and loaded up and headed to the ER. And they did tests, obviously, and they did a chest x-ray, and he has RSV and pneumonia. So we've been admitted. And this one's tough because the last time Jack had pneumonia was when we found out that he was going to need the trach, and it kind of started the darkest part of our journey so far, and it was a really, really miserable time. So to hear that he has pneumonia again is terrifying. And then you couple it with RSV, which we've been so afraid of RSV for 3 years. And we've always kind of avoided it, and it just sucks. So they've started antibiotics for the pneumonia. RSV isn't treatable. It just kind of has to run its course. So it's just what they call supportive care, providing him oxygen and whatever he needs. To keep him comfortable. And yeah, so I don't know how long we're gonna be here. I don't know what tomorrow looks like. I don't know anything. I know that we're tired. I know that I'm sad. I'm mad. And I know that there's nothing I can do about it. So. I just need to put on my big girl pants and do it, right? There's ain't nothing to it but to do it.
There's a new day that will come again tomorrow. There's a new day to wash away the pain. There's a new day to take away your sorrow. And the old ways get washed out by the rain. Darling, you've got to keep holding on through the night, 'cause I promise you this.
We are officially on day 2. 1, 2. Yeah, last night was night 2. This is day 2. Last night was much, much better than the night before. Yesterday, throughout the day, we had like a good solid 4 hours in the midday range. He was up, he was awake, he was sitting up all by himself, he was happy, he was talking a little bit, and then it just kind of went down the hill after that. He was requiring a lot of oxygen support. We ended up on about 50% oxygen, and a humidification thing to help get his secretions to thin out and come out on their own. And it was just it was a long day. But last night, when they did the switcheroo, and then, different doctors, different nurses, the new doctors came in, and they were the doctors that were here when he got admitted, and they were like, okay, we think we have a couple of options. Let's try these 2 things to help get the fluid and just the gunkiness off of his lungs. So the first thing we did was I'm not gonna pretend like I remember what it's called. I'm trying to look at the machine, but it's not helping. It's like a vibrator, essentially, for your lungs. So it hooks up, it's like kind of like a nebulizer, hooks up to the trach and pumps air in at a really rapid pace and kind of vibrates the gunk around and helps it come out, kind of forces him to cough it all up. So we did that first at 10 p.m. Worked wonders. He hated it. I'll insert a tiny clip here. It's kind of that you can't see anything but legs, but the noises are a little off-putting. He's definitely gagging. Kind of sounds like they're patting him on the back, but it's really just the machine pushing air into his trach, and then he's doing a lot of coughing and gagging. You're doing a job. I got quite a bit out earlier. Coughing it all up though. At 10. Then at 1 a.m. they did it again, and then they also did a super like saline nebulizer treatment at 1 o'clock too. So after the 10 p.m. thing, he was great. He was super happy. He like was alert for me a little bit, and then he got worn out and he went to, it was 10 o'clock, it was like 11 at that point, so he went to bed. He fell asleep, doing great, satting beautifully. His numbers were good. His heart rate since we had been here had not been below like 120, and he went down into like the high 90s, which was amazing because I knew he was actually getting to rest and he wasn't having to work so hard just to get those breaths. So they came back at 1 o'clock. They did it again with the nebulizer treatment, and again that time he did not stay up. He went right back to sleep and slept really soundly the entire rest of the night. I went to bed around 3 because when this all started, they put him on what they call SA, which is like, I can't remember anything. I am exhausted. But it's kind of like high alert, watch this child more closely. And so I stayed up with him just to kind of keep an eye on him, because he does have like a little, I'll show you in a little, I'll insert a clip above here, but it's like a little plastic thing that sits on top of his trach essentially, but it's super mobile, and it's what's kind of getting the oxygen and the humidity into that area. And so it's really easy for him to just roll over and for it to come off of his trach. And while it's still near it, it's not enough support. And so I stayed awake with him until about 3 a.m. And then he was really comfortable, really settled. The nurse gave me the green light. I could go to bed. So I went to sleep around 3, got up around 7 this morning. He was still asleep. Nurse said it was a great 4 hours. Nothing happened. He just slept peacefully, and all is well. So then this morning, I got up around 7. I went and got like a drink and some donut holes, and just to kind of like get out because he was still asleep. And came back, and they were getting ready to do the vibrating treatment again. So we did that. Well, he was all wrapped up and twisted in all of his cords from the night, and blankets and things like that, and so he ended up pulling his IV out. So then once we got done with the breathing treatment, then we had to get a new IV in. Then he had to get like all of his morning stuff, new diaper, get some Tylenol in him, like just kind of, it was a lot of poking and prodding. And so he has been back asleep since then, and that was, I want to say around like 8:30, and it's 10:30 now in the morning, so he is out, and his numbers are looking good. He's at 98 heart rate, and then his oxygen sats are at 95. So last night they were able to wean him down from 50% oxygen to room air, which is great. So it meant he wasn't getting any oxygen support. But then this morning, after all of the poking, we had to turn him up to about 35%, which is a win. So room air is 21% oxygen, if you don't know. So that's kind of the baseline you're working up from. So we're at 35, so we're about 14% above room air. So not a lot of assistance at that point. But still, he still needs it, because he's only setting about 94, 95. So, which is fine. And they say, like, this is what our doctors say. I'm obviously not a medical expert, but 88% oxygen saturation, like, you don't really want to see it hang below that for very long, because that's where it can start to get damaging and depriving. But if you're like fluctuating between like 88 and 90, like it's not great, but it's not the end of the world. And yesterday we were down in the 70s for a little chunk before we got him turned back up. So hopefully today is a good day. They're going to resume his feeding here soon, so they're going to get him some food, which will be good, because he hasn't had anything to eat since Tuesday around like 2 p.m. So he's probably starving. He's had a lot of fluids, but it's just sugar water. So that's the update. I just got the room cleaned up and tidied and reorganized everything, because I had just been throwing things everywhere. So I'm going to sit here. I'm going to hop on my laptop get some work stuff done and just kind of enjoy his restfulness. I'm just so glad he's getting rest because he needs it. He's so tired. So when I was feeling sorry for myself last night, and sorry for Jack, and having my like moment, which you all got to be along with, you're welcome. You know, I expressed that like RSV and especially pneumonia like scare the SHITA out of me. Like when I heard pneumonia, lost it. And then when they said RSV, it was like someone legitimately just like a horse kicked me in the chest. Like it was not a pleasant feeling, especially because, you know, RSV has been something we've always been afraid of. They were actually vaccinated for it for the first 2 seasons. But I mean, technically, we're out of RSV season. RSV season normally runs the same course as flu. And it's freaking June, okay? This is ridiculous. But so I expressed I was afraid of it. And now I know why. Jack is sick. Like, I have seen him in some like dark moments, but I have never seen him this sick and this just like out of it that wasn't like medically induced. So when we were, you know, when we had pneumonia the first time, it was when we got transferred to this hospital, actually to their NICU, and that's when they decided, you know, the trach was inevitable. So at that point, you know, he was opinionated, he was sick, he needed extra support, and he got like a common cold at that point, and he had to be intubated and he had to be sedated. And I haven't seen him like that, in that like sedated, medically sedated place since then. And that's what he was like yesterday. He was so out of it. Like, he was awake for those like 4 hours in the afternoon, and then after that he just progressively got worse and worse and worse, and to the point where like he couldn't even sit up on his own. Like, I tried to get him to sit up because, you know, he's coughing and he's got all these secretions, and, you know, you think like sit him up, prop him up with a pillow, let him kind of like get it out instead of laying flat and coughing. And he couldn't even like hold himself up. He was so sick and tired, and that was tough. In his eyes, there's just like, he's just vacant. But I did get a little glimpse of him yesterday afternoon, and then again after the first, I'm gonna call it the vibrating treatment. I'll get the proper name, I'll let you know. A little bit after that, around 10 last night, he was kind of himself, and I got some smiles, and I got more than just no. He's just answering everything with a no. He wants nothing. So I'm hoping he's gonna wake up from this nap feeling great. Well, probably not great, but feeling good enough to kind of sit up and engage with me a little bit, because I would love to talk to him. I would love a hug. But we'll see how the day goes, and I will keep you posted. All right, good morning. We're not getting better. We started to see some real improvements yesterday. Well, whatever, I don't know what day it is. We started to see some real improvements with the vibrating machine, which is called IPV. But then it just kind of stopped working. Like, they've been doing it every 4 hours, and they're just not getting anything back. Like, nothing is coming out. So what it does is it sends in percussed air, right? It pulses air into his lungs really quickly, or with a lot of pressure behind it, and then it allows that like gunk that's in his lungs to kind of break up, and then they can pull it back with the suction, but nothing's coming back, at least for the last like maybe 4 treatments, and it's like miserable for him. And he's requiring like 40% oxygen, like he has been for quite some time now at this point. So I'm at the point where I'm just pissed. Like I'm over it. I'm mad. He's sick. There's nothing I can do about it. He's legitimately miserable. Like he tried yesterday to sit up. Like when Josh came, he was trying to show off, and like he tried to sit up and color, and he can't even like hold himself up to sit up. He couldn't color for more than like 5 minutes before he just was like laying there, like barely moving his arm, and just fell asleep. Like he can't set himself up. He's exhausted. He hasn't done anything but sleep and cry and cough and be messed with, and I'm at the anger stage. I woke up mad. I went to bed mad. It's just like a helpless feeling. Like there's nothing you can do. But wait.
If you try to get some sleep, if you give up the fight, if only just for a bit, there's a new day. It is waiting for us. There's a new day waiting round the bend. There's a new day, and it will restore us. There will be new ways. This is not the end.
It's a new day, right? It's Saturday now. Not much has changed. We're still at 40% oxygen. We were at 40% oxygen all night. Jack spent a lot of time coughing last night, and he has spent a lot of time coughing this morning, and he's just uncomfortable, and this isn't easy. Having a sick kid is hard because you're helpless. But I did, get my attitude straightened out yesterday. I went home for like an hour or two, got a shower, like a real shower. I washed my hair. The shower here is, it's so great that I have a bathroom with a shower, but it's just kind of like being like slowly rained on with like lukewarm water. So it's not like it gets the job done, but I wanted a real shower. And I got to see Rory, and that was kind of hard. I didn't realize how much I missed him until I saw him. And like leaving to come back, he was really, really bummed when I left. So that's hard, having to, you physically want to be in two places at once. And obviously that's not possible. So, yeah, we're still here. His antibiotics should be wrapping up. This is last night was night 4, so this is day 3. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. This is day 4. Night 2. So his antibiotics should be wrapping up tomorrow for the pneumonia. But for the RSV, it's just a time game. So we are waiting it out. We are staying positive for the most part. But, Josh and I were talking when he was here last night. It's just, you feel like you're doing so well. You forget how, how compromised Jack is, I guess is the word. It's like we were riding this high of like, he's going to school, he's learning so much, he's so big, he's so strong, we're talking about decannulation, and then it comes out of nowhere. You just get hit in the face. I didn't say face when I was talking to Josh about it. And then you are forced to remember, he's not healthy. I mean, he has a problem. He's not. They were tiny. There were effects from that, long-term effects from that. So I think you go in about life and you just kind of forget. And then life has a real funny way of reminding you. So, yeah. We're just going to keep on keeping on. And hope that he turns a corner and things get better. They said RSV typically peaks between day 4 and day 5. We don't know what actual day we're on. We know that the day we came in, the night we came in on Tuesday night, Jack had no symptoms leading up until that point. He woke up from his nap around 4 p.m. and that's when everything started. And so we're not super hopeful that we were too far into the cycle before we came. So we think, we could be in that peak point right now, which could be why he's requiring so much oxygen support, and that the treatments aren't necessarily working as much anymore. So we will see. But I'm gonna get this video edited for you guys. I'm gonna get it up today, and just keep sending the good vibes our way. And I also wanted to make sure it ended on a better note than the last bit, but that was real life. That was how I was feeling yesterday. I'm not nearly as angry today. My attitude has been adjusted, but I'm just sad, I think, and I am not an emotional person. And so when there are emotions that are strong, I don't know how to deal with them, and I typically lean to anger because that's how I cope. It's not a good choice, but I get frustrated and impatient, and that's how we deal. Also, I'm extremely sleep deprived, but I'm gonna go grab a little bit of breakfast because he's still sleeping. And I'm gonna get this video finished for you guys and get it up, and I will keep you posted. I will start being more active on Instagram once I get this up, and try to get updates over there at least daily with how we're doing and where we're at. And I'll try to have a new video up for you Wednesday in our regularly scheduled programming time slot. So thank you so much for watching. Thank you for hanging in there with me. I know this was just a bunch of me talking to my phone. So thank you for hanging out. But yeah, thumbs up, subscribe, do stuff. But bye, friends. Can I see a smile? Can I see a smile? Can I see a smile? Very clean. This queen makes you smile. This queen makes you smile.
Darling, you've got to keep holding on through the night, 'cause I promise you this: if you try to get some sleep, if you give up the fight, if only just for a bit, there's a new day.